Alright, man, let's get this out of the way. Let's get this Toronto video out of the way. The Raptors traded for Jakob Poeltl. They traded Khem Birch, a protected 2024 first-round draft pick, and 2 future second-round picks. I have gone through the 5 stages of grief since this trade, since the trade deadline, which is honestly more painful than this trade. And yeah, let's talk about this. So as an actual trade piece, Jakob Poeltl, who was once a Raptor, is not a bad pickup at all. We finally get a center. The Raptors have been without a center for the last 2 seasons, basically. And, he can pass a bit. He can hold down the rim a little bit. He can be kind of that paint guy to protect the rim a bit, because the way our defense has just been all of our wings switching around and flying around. We don't have a real big 7-foot rim protector. Jakob Poeltl is that guy. He can also pass a little bit. He can finish around the basket a bit. Defensively, like I said, holding down the paint. It's not a bad trade. Gave up Khem Birch. He wasn't playing and he sucks. The 2024 first round pick, I have a bit to say about that, and 2 second round picks. Now, looking at it on its face, based on what we needed, based on what we gave up, it's not awful. I don't hate it. Initially when I saw it, I hated it because I was just like, come on. Mostly because it was there was talks about Gary being part of this trade, and I was like, there's no way we're trading Gary for Jakob Poeltl. But we didn't. But I still don't think it's a good trade overall based on what the Raptors have done. So as Woj pointed out here, after the trade deadline, the Raptors never turned out to be sellers. Instead, we bought Jakob Poeltl, and now there's a lot of implications for this team now. There was a quote from Nick Nurse before the Spurs game yesterday where he was giving a lot of praise to Jakob. We loved him when he was here. He's a really good, smart, tough, hardworking player. Screener, rebounder, rim protector, smart on defense. He can pass a little bit. Great. All those things are sure. That's something that we've lacked. But in fact, it was the only thing that the Raptors did. And that's really my beef with this entire situation, is the fact that the entire last month, the entire 2 months have just been Raptors rumors about selling. The team has been bad. The team has not been working out. Players have not been happy. Rumors with Fred. Last year of Fred's contract. Last year of Gary's contract. OG said that he's not happy. There was rumors of OG saying that he's not happy with his role. He wants a bigger role. Fred wasn't shooting good. Fred is having a down year after an all-star year. Gary, last year of his contract. What's up with him? He was coming off the bench for a little bit, then he was starting again, blah, 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 blah. So there was a lot of questions, a lot of rumors. They want to trade Fred. They want to trade Gary, maybe. They want to trade OG for 3 first-round picks. There was so much. And as Masai Ujiri said here, it didn't happen. The opportunity was not there for us to make a blockbuster trade. And it just really makes me so disappointed and just mad, because I had hyped myself up for it. I think a lot of people did. It felt inevitable that we were going to start selling because our team is just not good. Our team is not good the way it is constructed. There's a lot of issues with it. And the one trade that we made answered one problem, the center problem, but in fact, it made a couple more problems, actually. One of the big problems is also Jakob is not a shooter. He doesn't shoot threes at all. Shooting has been a problem for the Raptors the entire year. One of the worst 3-point shooting teams. So adding Jakob helped a little bit with the center problem. We still have one of the worst 3-point shooting teams. Masai said, I think we need to be one of those top tier 3-point shooting teams. And I think we'll get there through additions or internal growth. Jakob, as an addition, and internally, he's not going to shoot threes. He's not going to start shooting threes. And we added somebody that's not going to start shooting threes. Who's going to be the starting 5 now? Fred, Gary, OG, Scotty, Pascal, Jakob. That's 7 guys. One of them can't start now. Are we going to put Gary to the bench again? Because he's our best shooter, basically. And Fred can't shoot. So now Fred is going to be the only shooter out there. Our spacing got kind of worse. As this person says down here, they're 28th in team 3-point percentage and tied for 20th in total 3-pointers made. And we added Jakob. That's not going to help. The addition of Jakob Poeltl also added another big problem for the Raptors, as now we have Fred, Trent, and him. All of them are on basically the last year of their contracts. We already couldn't sign Fred and Gary. If we were able to sign both, we would be over the luxury tax for a team that is like the 10th seed right now in the East. And now we have Poeltl, which, unless you want to just let him walk after giving up your 2024 first-round pick, they're probably intending on re-signing him. So now you just made the offseason, like, money-wise, way more complicated. You couldn't get a trade for Fred, even though Fred has seemingly not been very happy here. There was comments from Masai about some selfishness, players need to be more selfless, and how we haven't been playing selfless basketball, which is obviously a shot at Fred. Gary wants money. I think we should keep Gary. I think he's younger than Fred. He can shoot better. I don't know. I'd rather keep him than Fred, because he's gonna want $30 million over 4 years. I don't want to give that to him. Man, I just don't know. Adding him, we fixed our center problem, more spacing problem, more money problems. We still have all these same questions about Fred, about Gary, about OG, how they feel about their team, how they feel about their role on the team. Shooting wise, we didn't get any better. Our guard depth is still bad. We still have been playing our players 35 minutes average. I think Pascal is one of the league leaders in like minutes played. Fred is like the only point guard, so he's basically playing almost like 35 minutes. That's what happened last year. He was an all-star second half of the season when he was still playing those heavy minutes. He started breaking down. He had an injury, and in the playoffs he was garbage because he was so injured, because he was playing so many minutes, because we had no guard depth. And just to win a couple of games last season in the middle of the regular season, Nick was running out 6-man lineups, 7-man lineups during January and February because we needed to win games. We did not address depth. We did not address our bench. I mean, other than the fact that Gary, I guess, has to come off the bench permanently now, because I know Fred, OG, Scotty, Pascal, Jakob, you want to start Jakob Poeltl, right? That's the point of getting a center. There's just so many questions and issues that are very obviously still here after the trade deadline, that seemed like, I don't know, you could trade Fred somewhere else because you obviously didn't want to sign him. I saw reports that the Clippers, that they wanted a Terrence Mann and a first-round pick from the Clippers. I would have taken that. Terrence Mann is kind of young. I would have taken a Clippers first-round pick. They weren't buying it. I would have traded OG to somebody if they were offering 3 first-round picks. I would have taken that. I would have taken some deal from the Pelicans, from their young players. I would have taken a Dyson Daniels, Trey Murphy, the Lakers pick. I would have drove OG to New Orleans myself if we could have got that for him. They said there was no deal like that available. They said whatever there was available today, they could do that in the summer. This summer is really like the real breaking point. We got here a list of Fred's crimes. Yeah, I really wish he wasn't here anymore, man. I'm sorry. I like Fred. I just don't like the situation that we're in terms of paying him and his play this season. And I guess since he has been so bad, it kind of makes sense that not a lot of other teams wanted him, because they can also see, it's not like they're blind to seeing that he's also been playing bad, but just some movement, anything, please. As this points out, the Raptors' record against teams that are 500 and above, 13-21, it's kind of disgusting. We're not good. We are not a good team, and this is a buying move. We sold our first-round pick for next year, which I heard that the draft next year might not be as good, but The protections on that pick. It's a top 6 protected pick, which is so awful because unless we're literally like one of the top 3 worst teams in the league, in which case we would basically almost be guaranteed a top 3 pick, we're not going to be bad enough to get our top 6 pick back. So that means we basically gave it up. And we still have our pick this year, which hopefully I hope, I'm praying on our downfall just because I want a high draft pick, because I want some young players that don't cost a lot of money versus paying Fred and Gary, being over the luxury tax, paying Jakob to be a team that is currently the 10th seed. And this quote, we need to at least give these guys a chance with a rim protector, knowing the guy he's going to bring good spirit to us. I understand the idea of wanting to see our team with an actual big man, and then we can really assess and really figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work, and then in the summer, make adjustments, trade, whatever. Sure, I understand that. Again, last season, this was also the exact same problem. We still didn't have a center last season, and we traded for Thaddeus Young. He wasn't a center either. Why did we do that? We traded our pick, pick last year for Thaddeus Young, who wasn't a center, when we already didn't have a center, and the Spurs got our pick, and then we had to draft in the second round. We traded them our pick next year for an actual center, and now he's saying, give them a chance to really assess their ceiling with an actual center. Why couldn't we have done that last season? Why couldn't we have done this exact thing last season? Overall, trying to take my emotions out of it because I was really annoyed and confused and upset earlier. I was going to start yelling during this video. I didn't yell or swear as much as I thought I would have, but it's just confusing because I get it. You needed a center, but this also created more problems, and there's still a boatload of problems that were not addressed at all. And it's looking like this summer is where those problems are gonna have to be, they will have to be addressed, but that's where they're looking for when, all the other teams, they're not playing whatever. Postseason, Masai said there's 29 losers postseason and every 29 teams trying to get better. Sure, whatever. But I don't know, man. I thought that you want to assess stuff in the summer, but in the summer you have 3 players that are going to be needing a contract. You can't really, unless you're really banking on definitely getting sign-in trades for Gary, for Fred, for Jakob, whatever, unless you're 100% sure that's going to happen, which really isn't guaranteed. You can't tell me that Gary can't just leave in the summer for nothing, because he can. You can't tell me if Fred can't do the same either, because he can. Will it? I don't know. Fred maybe would probably be fine with a sign and trade. Gary doesn't have like that kind of loyalty. He's only been here for like 2 years. Jakob, I don't know why we would trade him away after we just traded for him, unless he's really bad the second half of the season. It's just a lot of questions, and it feels like they're putting them all off to the summer after they can address and really look at what happens for the rest of the season, which on its surface is kind of fine. It's just that this summer is going to be, I feel like it's going to be harder to make any kind of trade that you want when you have 3 guys that need new contracts, as well as OG, who wants a bigger role, and you still have no bench, you still have no backup guard play, you still have no shooting, you still have bad spacing. Our defense has been bad, which is what we were hanging our hat on last season. Hopefully with Jakob, he'll be that rim protector, paint guy to help us not scramble around and give up so many corner threes. But I don't know, man. I currently, based off my expectations, what I wanted, what happened, and what might happen, I'm giving them an F. I'm giving them an F just because I'm so disappointed and upset after so many things were rumored, so many things could have happened, and all that happened is a whole lot of nothing.